is a meeting of the Fall River Commission on Disability for Wednesday, June 12th, 2024. Did I just give the right date? Yeah, June 12th. Okay. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make any audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. I'm sorry. Roll call.
Chairman Dennis Paulselli.
Present.
Vice Chairwoman Debbie Pacheco.
Present.
Commissioner Lisa Silva.
Present.
Commissioner Ann O'Neill Souza.
Present.
Okay, the next item is public input. I'll ask 3 times if there's any public input. So, is there any public input? Is there any public input? And is there any public input? Okay, hearing none, I will go on to the approval of the minutes for the meeting of May 8th, 2024. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for May 8th.
I'll make a motion.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 8th, 2024 meeting. This is Debbie Pacheco.
Okay. Any second to that?
I'll second that, Lisa.
Okay. Roll call vote?
Chairman Dennis Paulselli.
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Debbie Pacheco.
Yes.
Commissioner Lisa Silva.
Yes.
Commissioner Ann O'Neill Souza.
Yes.
Okay. Next item is updates. I don't have any ADA updates for this month. Next is policies. Debbie Pacheco.
No updates at this time.
All right. And next item is finance. I'm just going to give you, and Debbie, you can jump in if I miss anything. But we did meet with the mayor on May 20th, and I hope I didn't give the mayor's office COVID because I got it the next day. But anyway, at the meeting,
you did not.
Thank you. Present at that meeting was Mayor Paul Coogan, City Administrator Seth Aitken, City's CFO Bridget Allman, and Ken Fredette from the Corporation Counsel's office. Debbie and I sort of gave an update of the history of this program and some of the issues that we noticed the past couple of years, and particularly in the last year. And I don't want to go into all the things that we had noticed and things that, the meetings that we had with Chief Galvin. We did inform the mayor that, we did inform everybody that at our last meeting, I think it was the May 8th meeting, we had voted not to accept the memorandum of understanding, and the mayor reminded everybody present at the table, basically it's up to us. He kind of reiterated that we could go back to having one full-time police officer, and which would be $105,000 and change, or we could go in another direction, and that's entirely up to the board. And the mayor reminded everybody at the table that that's up to the board. My question here today is: we did vote last month to reject the memorandum. So do we still want to let that stand, or do we want to make a more definitive statement that we want to go in a different direction than paying a specific salary or part of a specific salary. Because I think in rejecting the memorandum, we already did that, but I just want to get everybody's input here.
Dennis, I think I'd like to recommend that we consider going back to a detail and presenting something to that effect to the police department and the chief. I don't know who exactly is in charge of it. That's the direction we'd like to go in, and asking them what did they think would be reasonable in regards to having a detail, going back to a detail, and whether or not we can find a previous agreement, because there's got to be one somewhere, because we used to do details before we went into paying, the salary of 2 police officers. Anybody else? I'd like to throw out a suggested timeline, if you will. What I'd like to suggest is that I will send everybody the proposed memorandum. I know we rejected it last month, but there are some things in that memorandum that I think would be good for a new memorandum that would govern going back to police detail. Things like record keeping, communications, letting us know monthly, either on a monthly basis report, things like training, keeping up to date on any changes in the handicap parking regulations. I think those are good things that would go into a memorandum. I've not been able to locate a memorandum of the police detail prior to 2012. From 2009 to 2012 is when the commission, I was not in Fall River at that point, but from 2009 to 2012, the commission did have a police detail program. And in looking at the revenue, it was much better than I thought when I took a look at how much revenue was coming in from the period of February 1st, 2009 to March of June 30th, 2012. It really wasn't as bad as I think we all thought it was at the time. And I would insist that any police detail be done through a memorandum, similar to what we had with the police department. So what I'm going to suggest is I'd like to send everybody or resend the proposed memorandum and ask for everybody to make suggestions and send them to me by June 28th. And then what I'd like to do is forward them to the mayor's office, and the mayor can send it to the appropriate people that were either at the last meeting to put together an appropriate memorandum which would be approved by the commission, I would say in September, with maybe a starting date of October. So, hello?
Dan Robillard.
Hey, Commissioner Dan. So just to
I'm over at City Hall, Dennis. Both my personal phones are down. There's a big issue with Verizon.
Okay, that's what we all... Go ahead. That's what everybody thought. Because I think there's a Verizon system-wide issue going on, it sounds like.
Yeah. Thank you, Warren. You're very welcome.
Okay. So, Dan, Debbie had just made a suggestion that we go back to the detail system, and I suggested that that I give everybody till the end of June to come up with suggestions that they would like to see. I would forward to everybody the proposed memorandum, and I would give everybody till the end of June to give me suggestions, and then I would forward them to the mayor's office, and they would determine who would best write the new memorandum that would come before the full commission in September.
Yeah, that's fine.
Is there any? Do you have anything that you want to add to that, Dan?
Not necessarily. I mean, I will review. Are you sending out copies of?
Yes.
The last MOU that was rejected?
Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out
I'm going to send out the memorandum that was rejected, resend that to everybody, and they can look, and everybody can look at it and and forward suggestions to me on what you would like to see in it, and then I would send it on to the mayor's office, and they know exactly, who they would like to see working on it. Dan, I mentioned in reporting on the May 20th meeting with the mayor, there was the city administrator, Seth Aitken, there was Bridget Allman, who was the CFO, and Ken Fredette, who was from the Corporation Counsel's office.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if I'm missing anybody else. Well, of course, our vice chair, Deb Pacheco, and myself. I think those were the participants at that meeting.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say now, Dennis, before reviewing the former MOU or the proposed MOU that was rejected by this body, is I wholeheartedly agree with Vice Chair Pacheco and anyone else that feels of the same opinion, that I do not want to return to a salaried position. Okay. I think if we're going to do anything at all, the only way to go is a detailed. Let me just say one thing, if I could, about the salaried position, because I think, at least from some of the perception, I just want to clear one thing up for the record in my mind. This commission was never intended to pay the full salaries of any police officers. I've heard time and time again over the years since we started with the officers that the $128,052 or $056, whatever it was, didn't cover the salary of the officers. It was never the intent of this commission to cover the full salary of either of the officers. Okay? This started with Dan Racine, and we paid a portion of the salary. It was never the intent. I'll speak for myself as one member who voted against the way we did things. I voted against all of those contracts except for one in 2017 because I didn't like the way it was structured. I thought the amount was too high, and so I voted against it. But it was never the intent of this commission, in my opinion, to pay the full salary of any officers, and no police officer would ever be out of a job because they're under contract, they're union protected. So for anybody to think that this commission was supposed to or should have been paying more to cover the full salary, that's just wholly inadequate in my mind. With that, I yield.
Okay. And actually, Chief Dan Racine, and I do remember the meeting back in 2012 when this was adopted, he did emphasize that if we decided not to go this route, we wouldn't be taking anybody's job away. So,
Could I make a follow-up comment, Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Thank you. The commission would never have the ability to take any job from a police officer away. They're union protected. So right there, anybody that thought that any changes by the commission was going to put a police officer on the unemployment line, that's just a scare tactic and should have never been used. And I think the portion of the salary that we did pay for approximately 10 to 12 years, $128,000 a year, is more than sufficient. It was a two-way partnership. we're looking to change direction, but I think the commission paid more than sufficient amount of money for the services we received. With that, I yield.
Okay. So, is this okay with everybody until the end of June? Just forward me your suggestions, and I'll make sure you guys get the memorandum. And if you just forward me suggestions of what you would like to see in it, then I can send it all to the mayor's office probably by the beginning of July, and then hopefully we can have a new memorandum stressing, the direction of going in through a police detail to be voted on by the September meeting. Summers is usually people go on vacations and stuff like that, so I really don't think that we're in a rush to do anything, and I just want to make sure that, that everybody works at a comfortable pace because, where in the end it's going to be other people that will be writing the memorandums, and I don't want them to feel pressured or anything like that. So does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
And again, I just want to reiterate that on the whole, this partnership has worked for us, and the things that we've been able to do. We're going to be doing our 5th annual scholarship next year, and so we can't underscore the importance of what we've been able to do without a partnership with the FRP, without a partnership with the Fall River Police Department. So, we always need to keep that in mind, that what we're doing is we're not foregoing the partnership. We're just going to go in another direction, in a different direction, and actually it might give the chief a little more flexibility if he needs a certain police officer on a certain day. He's not taking him away from something specific like this. So, does anybody have any more comments before I move on to?
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Thank you. I'd just like to say that none of my comments were directed at any member of the Fall River Police Department. The hired officers that we had, including Officer Riley, who's probably been the most long-term one, who I've personally known for quite a few years, and others that we've had since we've had 2 dedicated officers, have done an outstanding job serving this commission. My issues with the program have never been related to any of the services provided directly by the officers. I've had issues that had nothing to do with the members of the police department. So I want to make that clear. The Fall River Police Department has served this commission admirably and outstandingly, in my opinion. My issues with the program have nothing to do with any member of the Fall River Police Department. With that, I yield.
Okay. I'm going to go on to D, outreach. So we need to hear from, I need to get 4 students' ID numbers, and once I get those, we will be able to send all the scholarship monies out to the appropriate institutions. So it's a little bit of chasing down, but we're very much ahead of last year and the year before, and it seems like we get better in managing this each year. So I just need to hear from 4 students. I need their ID numbers. I'm not going to mention their names here, but I do have their appropriate contact information. So, so does anybody have any comments or questions or? I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Thank you. Very briefly, what happens if those 4 students don't reach out in time? Would they then forfeit the award?
Well, no money no money goes out until we hear from them, including their ID number.
Correct.
So, I mean, obviously, I think if we don't hear from them by the fall, then I mean, I don't know if we've ever discussed what if they decide to take a semester. We've never really got into those variables. I don't know if the work group or if the full commission wants to set a policy. If does this go through the entire year? If somebody were to decide to start in the second semester, I don't think we've ever discussed those variables before because we've never really. We've had returned scholarship monies that we've had, but we've never had issues where someone decided to take a semester off or anything like that. That I think I'm trying to think. I think we had an incident where somebody wanted to go into the service or something and take a semester off.
Yeah, that was last year or the year before.
And I think we said that couldn't happen or something like that.
As I recall, they wrote a letter to you as chair. That matter was brought before this full commission, and that money was forfeited, as I recall the vote.
I can tell you that 3 of the 4, and this is all I'm going to say, and I'm keeping it very general. 3 of the 4 are from one institution, and that one institution confirmed that all of those particular students are going there. So that I can say, and then there's one student that's going to a different institution. But 3 of the 4 are going to the same institution, and that institution has already confirmed that those students are there. And when I entered their names, they asked me to enter their names, and I entered their names to the student accounts office, and so nothing's going to happen. They're not going to lose, even if they got the money in late August or September. They're not going to lose anything from their account. There's a notation in their account that their scholarship money coming from this commission. So I can tell you that.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe that's something we discuss at an outreach work group.
Yep.
But I'll just say this generally. Generally, I like the policy that you receive the scholarship and you start the following semester. If we start having people starting 1 or 2 semesters later, I think that becomes a logistical nightmare, and I personally, as one member, would not support that. If there was a move to ever give somebody 1 or 2 or even 3 semesters, I like it as we have it now. You're awarded the scholarship, and you're expected to start that
in the following
the following semester right away. That's my opinion.
Is everybody okay? Is everybody okay with that?
I mean, maybe we come back and do a formal policy eventually. I don't think that's on today's agenda, so that's as far as I want to.
Oh, that's true. That's true. We can't do a vote anyway. Okay. All right. I can put it on the September agenda if we want to formalize it, so that's what I'll do. Okay.
I yield. Thank you.
Okay. So that's all I have on outreach. Sorry. The next item is old business. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? Our next meeting is, we have the month of July off, which I hope you all have a good month of July off. Our next meeting won't be until Wednesday, August 14th. But does anybody else have any new business? Which, if needed, if a vote is needed, it would be. If a vote is needed to be taken, it would have to be. It would have to be put on next month's agenda. The next meeting's agenda. But does anybody have anything they want to bring up under new business?
Not at this time.
Okay. Hearing none. Do I hear a motion then to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
Second the motion, Debbie Pacheco.
Okay. I'll take a roll call vote.
Chairman Dennis Paulselli.
Yes.
Vice Chairwoman Debbie Pacheco.
Yes.
Commissioner Lisa Silva.
Yes.
Commissioner Dan Robillard.
Yes.
Commissioner Ann O'Neill Souza.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
All. Yep.
Have a good day.